What often destroys relationships but is hardly talked about? U/Silisnu_ responded. Health. U/Darmanidu replied to this with, and it can destroy it in really unexpected ways. Thad, a partner who only felt secure in the relationship if he was doing caregiving and provider activities, but I was still independent. We had a house together, were planning on things being long-term, but after I had surgery to fix a problem that's plagued me our entire relationship, he started sabotaging my health to keep me from continuing to get better. Was it intentional? Probably not. I hope not. But it was horrible and confusing, and after I went through it, so many more people told me about their similar experiences. It's deeply fucked up. The more common scenario is also just devastating. Caregiving is a wildly undervalued activity by our society, and you really don't know the full extent until you're in a caregiver role. It's overwhelming to be your partner's caregiver. U/Joshman1231 responded. Growth and change. 5 years is one thing, 10 years in you're different people entirely, 15 years in, you either grow together or apart. Usually people in their 30s get to the point where they need to grow with their partner and the opposite happens. People grow apart from one another. It's inevitable. Suddenly what once was an amazing thing is now complete shit. Could be platonic, could be toxic, but it's shared by two people that are on uncommon ground wanting something to change. Yearning for something more compatible, that fits better. I learned this in therapy, at the point of, our relationship either grows or it dies. I chose growth, and I wanted to change. This is waiting for everyone. U/away rip 8005 responded. Comprehension. It's easy, to some not all, to communicate the things you are feeling or things that need to be brought up, but I feel if your partner doesn't understand or try to, then it doesn't help with progression of said thing that was communicated. In my opinion, it's important to be understood. I want my partner to communicate with me obviously, but I want to be able to understand and be understood while doing so. U/touchytypist responded. Losing who either of you are. Sometimes a partner will solely focus on or sacrifice for their partner, or kids, and lose their own personality and character in order to please or meet the needs of another person. Then they realize they aren't who they truly are or being true to themselves. That's why it's so important for partners to have their own individual time apart from each other and activities to do for themselves. I believe that's also where a lot of midlife crises stem from. U/C_client 9991 responded. Not assuming positive intent. While people can be malicious, if you've surrounded yourself with good people that won't be the case. The people closest to you don't want to hurt you. What can come across to you as patronizing, or controlling, or even cruel, can often be good intent executed badly. And often, even if it's really obvious to you, to them they might not even realize that they're being controlling or patronizing, and that those behaviors are hurting you. By not assuming positive intent, you're already painting them as the bad guy, and by doing that you're not getting the full story and you're certainly not solving the problem. U/Disneybounder responded. I don't think people really realize how much of a strain having kids can put on a relationship unless you really are working as a team. The sleep deprivation alone is enough to make anyone feel snappy, and if one of you is getting significantly more sleep than the other, resentment can build up. Mums often feel like they've lost their identity, while for the most part, the dads' lives don't change all that much. They still go out to work almost straight away, they can still go out or see their friends without too much forward planning. Then, being at home alone with a baby all day while your husband works can create feelings of loneliness and jealousy. Mums often become the default parent if their kids need to be off school for an illness or school holidays. It's often left to them to carry the mental load of the day-to-day things, and often left feeling like the household manager when their husband doesn't initiate getting things done without having to be asked things like taking out the rubbish, cleaning up, etc. I'm really lucky that my husband and I were a team from day one and always split the night feeds so we could each get a decent amount of sleep. And I had a lot of friends and family nearby for me and my baby to spend our days with. I think being in lockdown during my maternity leave was a blessing because he was there during the day to give me a break if I needed it. And, we've always tried to have nights off with just the two of us, either just for an evening or a night away if we can manage a babysitter. U/Yasmam responded. I'm a divorce lawyer and the answer is threats. Direct. Implied. Any intimation of I want you to do X so I'll do Y unless you do. Threats are not cute. They are not setting a boundary. And they are not any combination of standing up for yourself or teaching people how to treat you. People can survive the wildest combinations of dysfunction. But literally every couple who's ever been in my office thought it was okay to threaten each other. Once you introduce that lack of safety with each other, it all snowballs. And we naturally threaten children constantly: if you don't eat your dinner, there will be no dessert. People act like it's normal, and then we're all surprised when our close relationships fall apart. U/impossible_form_2826 responded. The fact relationships are often built on lies. When people are dating, they make sure to dress up at their best, wear lots of makeup, try to look wealthier than they are, hide all the weird sides of their personality, be the most selfless, and hold their partner on a pedestal. It can last for months or even years, then as soon as the relationship gets seriously serious, the masks fall. The man who used to pay for very expensive dinners in order to impress, then makes a scene if the wife buys her favorite cookies instead of the cheapest brand. The woman who used to act submissive to feed her fiancé's fantasies, in reality wants her freedom and likes to spend energy on her career and her social life. The woman who never dared to mention babies for the fear of making pressure on her man, really wants to be a mom so badly she can't even imagine a life without children. The man who pretended to be all for the dirty things and kinks and all, because that's what a real man is expected to want, may take out all of his insecurities around bed when he has proof that his girl is really a kinky type and wasn't just pretending to keep up the game. It would be so much easier if people showed their real self from the beginning. There wouldn't be so many couples who are unhappy and unable to keep passion alive, because they find out they are not compatible only when they had spent so much time together that they basically built a whole life together, never truly knowing each other. The Doomsday Book responded. Children. You're not supposed to blame them for problems in marriages, relationships, but they're at the root of all kinds of fights: the cost of raising them, the sleep deprivation and exhaustion, the amount of cleaning and cooking and work that can never be divided exactly 50-50 all the time, the kids themselves manipulating parents, parents going in to have a child with different philosophies on how to raise and discipline kids, etc. Most of the couples I knew that split up were great couples until they had a child or three and the stress got to them. U/Hedgewitch1066 responded. Different sleeping habits. My boyfriend and I have always kept separate bedrooms, and others have either found it absolutely wild or amazing. We have different aesthetics, different sleep patterns, wildly different alarm times, and not to mention I snore like a Mack truck. The few times we've had to share rooms, one or both of us ends up tired the next day and pissed. We feel like having our own space has led us to wanting to spend time together in shared spaces and gives us an out whenever we need it, plus doesn't lead to any lingering resenting from lack of sleep. U/Dr Vinny Boombats responded. Postpartum depression. I had a perfect relationship of 8 years until we decided to have a baby. It was the perfect decision made at the right time. We were both healthy and at the peak of our youth success at the time, perhaps. The baby was delivered and it was like we hit the jackpot. Exactly what we wished for. A quiet, easy boy with lots of smarts and social behaviors. It all went downhill few months after delivery, as the doctors told me my wife has postpartum depression, after doing CS, and this is normal. I don't know why nobody warned us if it is such a norm. So they said it is meant to last for 2 years at least. 2 years have passed at this point, and she is still a train wreck of emotional roller coaster every week. We live in 2 different houses nearby our son's kindy, and I have stood by her side all the way, hoping that one day I could keep my chin up when my son grows up and doesn't have to wonder why his family is broken up like I did. U/deleted responded. Personality disorders. They're a lot more common than most people realize. And spouses who have one or more can be especially challenging to deal with. They are often histrionic, hypersensitive, indifferent to boundaries, and can be impossible to reason with. They are also disproportionately present in people with addictions. A common response to such a spouse is to shut down and not engage. This leads to resentment, and is yet another reason to choose your spouse well. Especially if you have even one parent with NPD, BPD, or any other form of chronically disordered thinking. We tend to be attracted to what's familiar. U/Chillwisdom responded. Not sharing the mental load of the household. This burden usually goes towards women, and the men don't even realize they're not shouldering much of it. Men think women just naturally know how to think of everything and keep track of everything, but it's fucking hard, and we do it because somebody has to, and nobody else is stepping up to the plate. After years and years of doing this and not having any recognition for doing it or relief from doing it, women become resentful that their burden is always heavier. It erodes their belief in their partner as an equal part of the relationship that could be trusted to step up and take care of things if anything happened to them, like an illness or an accident. And a lot of cases my U/Shini_derp responded. Religion and culture. We had a celebrity who just got proposed to a few months ago. Then suddenly they called off the wedding. They said the reason was because she didn't want to convert and they were already in a relationship for like 5 years. I also read a story of a very compatible couple and were in love. They've been together for years but they broke up because of family pressure to convert, and they also wanted a different type of wedding. He was Jewish and she was Christian. I just think why they didn't have both weddings. That's what other couples do that have different religions or are interracial do nowadays. U/efficient proof 8755 responded. Seeing your partner as a woman or a man before a person. Many people hold heavy biases about the opposite gender and it's ruining their connection. Assume whatever gender roles you like, as long as it comes from a place of interest instead of expectation. Don't make assumptions about what your partner is thinking, feeling, or expecting based on their gender. Quit seeing your relationship as transactional. This is what a man can give me, this is what a woman can give me. My own personal experience as a bisexual person has led me to abandon the necessity of all gender roles in my male-female relationship, and there is nothing better for your relationship than keeping an open mind. It is easy for people who have never had a reason to think twice about a straight relationship to use gender roles as a crutch, and it almost always leads to miscommunication. There will be differences between you as a man and a woman. But, without an open mind about each other's experience, you will not come to an understanding. Not saying everyone in a male-female relationship needs to be an avid left-leaning person. Far from it. But it is time, for all of us, to abandon the worthless bullshit rules we have ingrained in our head about the gender binary. We are all struggling because of it. Every single one of us are victims here, and we need to loosen up in order to properly love ourselves and others. U/classic_engine 7285 responded. Not letting the other person do what they want. Granted, there are unhealthy habits and social obligations. I'm obviously not talking about going to nightclubs or skipping your best friend's wedding. However, if your husband likes to golf, he should be able to get out a couple times per month. If your wife likes to get her nails done or go to yoga, she should be able to do those things. If your BFGF likes to run, they need the space to do that without feeling like it's happening at the cost of the relationship. We recently did these personality tests at work, and I found that I'm the type of person who likes to help, support, make sure everyone is succeeding and happy, and so on, but often at the cost of my wants and needs. It really helped me understand why my wife and I are so much more compatible than my other relationships. Even the nice ones were inadvertently taking advantage of me and my time, whether it was my fault or theirs. A relationship should never mean that one person is being controlled because, in those situations, neither of the people are ever happy. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, you might enjoy the rest of my content. Check it out.